friends, it's Shereé, and in today's episode of Elevate with Ankara, episode number 22, we are bringing you the final garments in the series. If you're new to this series, this is a series that was started by myself and Talisha of Creativity by T here on YouTube and on Instagram. And in this series, we have been encouraging our sewing friends to try using Ankara fabric to elevate basic sewing patterns. We have had a blast putting this together for you. It's been a year-long series. I'm so proud of us, and I think that we are closing it out with a bang because I love the final garments for this series. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning person, thank you so much for your continued support. All right, let's get into it. There's no better way to close out an amazing series by giving you not one, but two garments that can be worn together or separate. I'm talking about a combination that is so fly that it'll set you apart from everyone else that's sewing up this pattern, okay? Now, this is a pattern that I have shared a portion of in a previous video, but I didn't give you a detailed pattern review back then. Today's the day for the details, okay? I chose to do Simplicity S9756, and I'll insert a picture on the screen so that you can see what this looks like. Friends, when I tell you that this garment is fun, I mean it. It is definitely one of those garments that I will be wearing to have fun and to be playful in. This pattern is a relaxed fit button front shirt that has a collar, long sleeves, and cuffs. It has a back yoke with pleats, and it comes with pull-on pants that have an elastic waistband and self ties. It also comes with a cropped top, which I personally chose not to sew. Initially, I thought I might give it a go, but then after thinking about it some, I felt a little nervous about it because it didn't seem as though it came with a lot of support from my girls. So I chose to just do the button up in the pants, and I'm pleased with that decision. The size range for this pattern is in two brackets. We have a size 10 to 16, and we have a size 20W to 28W. For the size 10 being the smallest size, the bust is a 32.5, the waist is a 25, and the hip is a 34.25. For the size 16, the bust is a 40, the waist is a 32, and the hip is a 42. For the 20W, the bust is a 42, the waist is a 35, and the hip is a 44. And at the largest size, a size 28, the bust is a 50, the waist is a 44, and the hip is a 52. That is a very inclusive pattern range, and I'm very happy about that. I chose to sew up a size 16, which is my typical size that I sew up. And for the most part, I think that that was a really good choice for me. The pattern comes with, for the shirt, 8 pattern pieces, and for the pants, there are 5 pattern pieces. This pattern is rated as average, and I agree with that rating. It does require you to install buttons and buttonholes, and you also need to be able to know how to install elastic in a waistband, which is very easy. So I would say that if you are new to sewing and you're intimidated by sewing buttons, maybe this shouldn't be one of your first projects. However, if you've made elastic pants before in the past, you shouldn't struggle with the construction of the pants. The fabric suggestions for this pattern are charmeuse, cotton blends, crepe de chines, gauze, lightweight linen blends, poplin, and silky types. And as you know, I used Ankara fabric, which is 100% cotton. The notions you'll need is lightweight fusible interfacing. You'll need 11 3/4 inch buttons, 1 inch elastic in 2 yards to 2 5/8 yards depending on your size. You'll need a 7-inch separating zipper if you're making the little crop top. You'll also need an O-ring if you're making the crop top. I did not use 3/4 inch buttons. I used buttons in my stash, and I had 5/8 inch buttons, so that's what I chose to use. I purchased these buttons in a kit from Amazon that came with lots of different colors. I love that I bought this kit. I reach for it all the time, and I'm going to actually list it in the information section of this video so that if you are on the market to just have a button stash of 5/8 inch buttons, you can pick that up as well. One of the things that I added to my notions list is actually bias tape. So if you want to have a nice finished edge on your top and you don't want to do a fold over hem, I suggest that you pick up some bias tape. I used 1/2 inch bias tape that I purchased from Amazon as well. It will be linked below. And the reason why I did that is because I often struggle with doing a fold hem when I have a curved hemline. And if you look at the pattern design on this pattern, you will see that the hem of this button up is curved, and for that very reason I just thought it would look much nicer if I use bias tape. I did make and share a version of this top in a previous video, and I shared a linen version, which is beautiful by the way, and for that particular version I chose to just use serger thread to finish it. I did not hem it, and I did not use a finished nice bias tape on the bottom of that. Part of the reason why is because I used a natural linen and I thought it looked really rustic and nice to have just the serger thread showing, and so that's just a personal style aesthetic that I like, and so that's why I chose to finish the blouse in that way. But for this version I did not want to have serger thread showing at the bottom. I didn't want to distract from this beautiful print on the fabric, so I chose to go ahead and use bias tape, and I definitely stand by that decision. I think it was beautiful and easy to finish off this top, and I didn't struggle with having the fabric not fold over correctly when I reached those curved bottom edges of the top. So if you are a person like me that struggles with hemming curved edges, this might be the way to go, because bias tape being cut on the bias has some stretch. It just molds really nicely to those curves at the hemline of your garment. While it would seem that the most challenging part for this pattern would be installing the buttons in the buttonholes, I'm gonna be honest with you, for me, the most challenging thing about this button-up top would be installing the continuous lap on the sleeve cuff. Now, I have done this shirt before, and when I did it in linen, my continuous lap was beautiful. It looked so nice and professional. However, I found that when I installed this continuous lap on this sleeve, I had some bunching here at the top part of the continuous lap. You may not be able to see it. It isn't something that's terrible. I have had this happen to me in the past. I made a really beautiful button-up shirt at the beginning of the Elevate with Ankara Sewing series, and I want to say it was actually the first garment in our series, and I had the same issue with the continuous lap. So it could be sewing while tired that resulted in this continuous lap not being perfect. If you don't know what a continuous lap is, I'm going to open up this cuff so that you can see what it is. It's just a really nice way to finish off sleeves at the cuff. So it's a folded piece of fabric that you attach to the raw edges and seam allowance of the wrist of the cuff. I hope that makes sense what I just said, but it's a really nice way to finish your sleeves. And like I said, in my linen version it came out gorgeous, but I also did not sew that tired, so a different experience resulted in a little bunching, and it happens on both of my continuous lapses. So in my opinion, the buttons and the buttonholes were a breeze, but I struggled with my continuous lap. Give me a heart in the comment sections if you have also had the issue with the continuous lap in any of your garments. Outside of the issue with the continuous lap, I would say that this particular top is a fantastic top to sew. It is extremely oversized. I do want to note that. So if you're a person that does tissue fittings of your patterns before you sew them up, or if you do muslins, I highly recommend that you lean into that, because you want to make sure that even though it is meant to be oversized, that it fits you appropriately. For instance, if you look at the model on the cover of the pattern, you will see that her sleeve cap actually sits on her shoulder where it should be. However, when I made a size 16, which I would generally make, it was way out here on my linen version, which is fine for the look that I was trying to achieve. However, for this version, I wanted it to sit like it does on the model on my shoulders. So the way that I addressed that issue, rather than cutting a smaller size because I didn't like the way it fit all over the rest of my body, is that instead of doing a 5/8 inch seam allowance when attaching the sleeve to the front and back pieces, I actually did a full inch of a seam allowance when attaching these, and it actually was perfect. It fits me so nicely. It's still oversized, but I don't feel as though it looks odd. So that's just how I addressed fixing the issue. However, you can do the smart thing and make a test version, or you can size down your pattern pieces, which is what I should have did. But to be honest with you, you know I like to batch cut, and this was already cut up and ready for me to sew weeks before I was actually ready to actually sew it. So in doing that, I hadn't sewn up my linen version yet, so I wasn't able to note that the sleeves would be so much bigger than they needed to be. So again, you can make your clothes however you want to make them, or do your adjustments the way you want to do them. I just want to tell you that this does run a bit oversized. Let's talk about the pants. These pants are my favorite elastic waist pair of pants that I have ever made. I'm still wearing them now because I don't want to take them off. There are a couple of reasons why. First of all, the design of them is just really flattering. I love a good long wide leg, and I have very long legs even though I'm not very tall, and I just felt like they just fit my body so nicely and they look so nice on me. I'm going to get off my stool so that I can show you the waistband on this guy. The cool thing about these pants is that there are 2 rows of 1-inch elastic. There's one here and there's one here, and in the middle you have a drawstring to make a tie. And at first I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. As you know, I struggle with things squeezing my waist. I don't feel particularly very comfortable in garments that are very tight around my waist, and the thought of 2 bands of elastic was not something that I was super excited about. However, I love the look on the model, so I decided to just give it a try. And the way that I was able to fit my elastic to make me comfortable is that I actually took my measurement, which is a 32 waist. It fluctuates, sometimes it's 33. And rather than following the elastic guide in the pattern instructions, I chose to cut my elastic at 33.5 inches. So when I overlap the elastic, it wouldn't be too much tightness on my waist. It'll actually just be a little bit of a stretch, and it's so comfortable, you guys. And I'm going to start doing that from now on because I do have a waist that fluctuates. The reason why I felt comfortable doing that and I wasn't fearful that it would fall down or be too loose is because there's also the drawstring, which I thought could be functional in this garment instead of just decorative. So I went ahead and took a chance, and I'm glad I did, because from now on, if I'm going to be wearing a high-waisted elastic waist pair of pants, I'm going to definitely increase the length of the elastic to accommodate a more comfortable fit rather than following the elastic guides or instructions for elastic in the pattern instructions. One thing that I did that was a total mistake is when I was cutting the waistband of the pattern, for some reason, I cut a size 12 on one side and a size 16 on the other side. I don't know what I was thinking. I have no idea how that happened. Again, I often do my cutting, sewing, things of that nature either on my lunch break or when everyone's asleep in my household, and so I'll be a bit tired at times, but it's really the only time that I can sew, and so it could have been one of those sleepy night mistakes, but I definitely didn't catch it until after my fabric was cut. So my waistband was smaller than the front and back legs once they were stitched together at the waist. The way that I addressed that is that I added a row of gathering stitches in the front of the front pant legs and the back of the back pant legs at the very top. And so that way I was able to pull the threads so that the waistband would fit the top of the pants. I have never ever done that before. I didn't know if it would work, and it absolutely did. Because these pants are so wide leg, it didn't make the pants fit weird. And also I was just going to add elastic at the waist anyway, so it was going to be scrunched up anyway. You can't tell that I did that. It's totally fine. But I'm glad I didn't panic and throw in the towel and give up, because it was a very easy fix. Going forward though, I will go ahead and add to that pattern piece to make it the length that it's supposed to be, because I do plan on making these pants again. I love them so much. I also love that they have really nice deep pockets that I can put my hands or all my gear in. And because I used this really loud print, beautiful fabric, it can pair with so many different other garments in my wardrobe. Obviously, I can pair it with any of the number of colors that are in the fabric, or I could use a solid white color like this or a solid black. Regardless, having such a rainbow array makes this a pair of pants that can go with everything, as well as several different pairs of sneakers in my wardrobe and sandals. That makes me a happy girl. Same thing with this top. One of the things that I love about this top is that it's so oversized. I could pair it with leggings or even very short biker shorts and wear it as a dress. And because of the print itself, I think that it would just draw the eye and people would be like, whoa, where did you get that? That's so cute. Now, for some people, they might think that this is too loud of a print to have both a top and a pants in that same fabric. And to you, I want to say, it's your world, boo. You wear what you want to wear. But for me, I thought it was fun. And I think it's a very eye-catching, cool outfit. I personally like the idea of wearing this more like a jacket instead of a shirt when wearing these pants, just so that you can have your undershirt to kind of break up the print a bit and not get completely lost in it. But I definitely think that this print of this fabric lends itself really well for being able to pair it with some really cool accessories and sneakers or sandals or heels, different colors, different shapes. And I think it's just a really fun fabric. This fabric is 100% African wax print cotton fabric that I purchased from House of Mami Wata. I have been going hard for House of Mami Wata all year because I have found so many wonderful pieces of fabric at this shop. I highly encourage you to check it out, and I will link a link to the website in the information section below. Let me insert some pictures for you. As you can see, I've taken pictures in front of my white backdrop, and you'll be able to see that I have styled it with this white shirt as well as with my yellow Air Force One sneakers. I think this is a really cute pairing, so much fun, but I could definitely see myself pairing it with more neutral color like a white sneaker. I could see myself pairing it with any number of my heels in my closet, and it could be really cute that way. I really love the idea of pairing these separately with other garments, but I do think it is a fun feature to be able to put them together in a cohesive look. If you are someone who loves to stand out in a crowd, I highly recommend that you try this two-piece pattern with Ankara fabric because I think that you will really enjoy it. I highly enjoyed sewing this garment. I think that both pieces are amazing together and separate, and I will be making them again in the future. And I think that you would like them as well. So I definitely recommend this pattern to you, following the suggestions that I gave you on sizing. So definitely check this one out. I think I bought this at one of the Joann $1.99 sales, but you can definitely get this pattern on the Simplicity website. And I believe that if you are a person that prefers downloadable PDF patterns, that this one is available in that way. So definitely check this out. I want to thank you all for watching this series and sticking with Talisha and I for this last year. Your support has meant so much to us. I have really enjoyed creating some really awesome and unique garments to share with you in this series, and I hope that you are definitely encouraged and that you're actually looking forward to trying out some patterns with African wax print Ankara fabric. It was our goal and our mission to show people how you can take basic patterns and just really elevate them by having these cool prints and patterns, and I hope that we inspired you to give it a try. I'm going to insert a little clip of all of the garments that I made in this series, and I just really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to those of you that actually stuck with us the entire series. And I hope that you come back to both of our channels and you check out some future videos that we have coming up. If you enjoyed this series, do me the biggest of favors, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share our content with other people. There will be a playlist in the information section below. Share it with your friends, share it with anyone that you think might be interested. And we ask that you also check out all of those small owned businesses that sell Ankara fabric and support their shops. I hope you have a wonderful day, a fantastic week, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your 2023 as I will enjoy mine while I sew up so many different garments and try to inspire you. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.